Hello everyone, today we're gonna solve a 1108 LeetCode problem using C++, which is defanging an IP address. Given a valid IP address, return a defanged version of that IP address. Defanged IP address replaces every period. So every time we met dot, we'll replace it with brackets. And inside of the brackets will be dot, as is shown in the input. Every time we get a dot, we're gonna replace it with brackets around it. So let's start solving this problem. As the logic of this problem seems pretty simple. First we need to, there's two ways to solve this problem. First solution will be by using a pretty common approach, I would say. So we'll create an n that's gonna hold the length of a string, and we need this n to use it in the for loop to hold length of a string address. And now we're gonna create another string, let's call it result. And what this result is gonna do is it's gonna hold the defanged version of the IP address. So meaning that this address string is the original and the output is the defanged string. So this result will hold this output value. So let's create our for loop for I and I++. Oops. Inside of the for loop, what we're gonna do is we're gonna create our if statement, and inside of the if statement we'll write every time address at the index I is equal to the dot character, the result is gonna accumulate it as brackets with dot. And in other cases, result will hold the values at the address, and we're gonna return it back to the main function, return result. So the idea in this for loop is that this statement is used to what it does is basically every time address at the index reach is equal to the dot, the result string is gonna hold the brackets, the dot with the brackets around it. And otherwise, if it doesn't have a dot in a string, meaning that, let's say, if we have a IP that's basically just numbers, so the result is only gonna execute this part. But since IP addresses have 4 dots, which is like this, result is gonna change the dots into brackets, with dot inside it. So let's run our code to see if it works. No, it doesn't, because spelling errors. Run the code to see if it works. Yes, it does. Let's click to submit and see what we got. Okay, this was our first solution. The second solution is more simple version of it. Instead of creating a for loop with the length of address, we can simply create a string. Let's call it output. That's gonna hold the Defanged IP address, and we can create a what's called auto. Auto is a keyword that is used to hold variables. So every time auto is used, let's say what we have is auto x equal to 10. In this case, auto will be automatically assigned as an integer. And let's say we have auto y that is assigned as xyz. In this case, auto will automatically be assigned as a string. So it kind of works like a keyword that's gonna hold the data type, any data type that the variable is holding. So for example, x variable is holding 10. 10 is an integer data type, so auto will automatically become an integer data type. So let's say auto x is going to receive the address, and inside of for loop we can say if x is equal to the dot character, the output is gonna accumulate the brackets with a dot. Else output is just gonna get the x. In this case, x is the variable that's gonna receive address, and auto kind of works in a way that it will keep continuing receiving the values, in this case the string values from address every time until there will be no more string values in the address. So after that, we basically just going to return the result back to the main function, return output. Let's see if our code works here. Let's click submit, and yes, it does.